So we will get to that and more. But first, we must get to Aaron's rundown of what happened while we were away.
What happened while we were away, brought to you by Hostile Takeover Complete. Twitter has agreed to sell itself to billionaire Elon Musk in a deal valued at $44 billion. This comes about a week and a half after Musk initially made his offer to take the company over. Musk said in a statement, quote, "Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and authenticating all humans. Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it," end quote. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey said in a series of tweets he regrets what Twitter has become and that he regrets it being owned by Wall Street and advertisements, and that Musk is the singular solution he trusts. Meanwhile, the left is coping hard.
If you get invited to something where there are no rules, where there is total freedom for everybody, do you actually want to go to that party? Or are you going to decide to stay home? And that's a question for Twitter users.
What happens to the advertising? I mean, if there's no moderation or little moderation, do the advertisers stay away? What does that do to the business prospects for Twitter itself?
You own all of Twitter or Facebook or what have you. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to be transparent. You could secretly ban one party's candidate or all of its candidates, all of its nominees, or you could just secretly turn down the reach of their stuff and turn up the reach of something else, and the rest of us might not even find out about it till after the election.
Amazon founder and former CEO Jeff Bezos reacted to the news by wondering aloud if China has gained leverage over the quote-unquote town square, because if there's one person who knows a thing or two about China having massive leverage over a large company, it's Bezos. The American Civil Liberties Union came out and said, "We should be worried about Musk's purchase of Twitter and the effect that'll have on free speech." Musk is a large donor to the ACLU, by the way. Donald Trump told Fox News he's not going to be rejoining Twitter, instead using his new social media platform, Truth Social. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis added this.
You have some of these legacy media outlets in D.C. and New York saying that this is such a bad thing because Musk believes in free speech. But it shows you what they've used these tech platforms to do. When these platforms first came on the scene, they billed themselves as being open platforms, as letting people share ideas. Indeed, they were used to go around a lot of those failed legacy media outlets like NBC and CNN that nobody trusts anymore. And yet it seems like over the last 5 or 6 years, these big tech companies, including Twitter, have gone from being open platforms to being enforcers of the narrative. And if you dissent from that narrative, you can be silenced. You can be deplatformed. If you report things that are inconvenient to the narrative, like the New York Post did with Hunter Biden, they will take it down or freeze your account.
Speaking of DeSantis, the newest St. Leo poll of DeSantis' approval rating finds him at a new high of 59%, an uptick of 3 points from the last iteration of this poll back in the fall. That same poll finds DeSantis beating Charlie Crist in the governor's race 49 to 32%, and beating Nikki Fried in the governor's race 51 to 27%. And finally, let's just stop and take stock of what's happened in the last week. Netflix's share price dropped precipitously last week on news of subscriber losses, with millions more expected. The following day, the streaming platform released a drama about a dude who gets pregnant. Less than a month after its launch, CNN Plus is dead, a $300 million hole in the ground. Ron DeSantis and the Florida legislature spanked Disney for their pro-groomer stance. Disney has lost about $40 billion in its stock value, and Elon Musk just bought Twitter and is taking it private. Wow. And that's what happened while we were away.